What's up guys, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be walking you through the process of a little sketchbook drawing that I finished up the other day, and I'm also going to be answering some of your guys' questions which you asked me on my Instagram, which is at Matthew Sorgi if you want to follow that. But essentially I'm just doing a little pencil sketch to start, and I'm going to be layering on some paint and some colored pencils. I'll walk you guys through the steps of this process, and I'm also going to be answering these questions. So we have a nice wide range of questions, some art related, some just like general questions. But the first question I got that I would like to answer is, what is my favorite medium? So I would say I do not have a favorite medium, or at least I don't just use one. I really enjoy mixed media, so like in this piece, for example, I'm going to be using pencil, acrylic paint, colored pencils. So I really like to combine different mediums to kind of get the effect that I'm looking for. But if I'm on the go, usually colored pencils are like my go-to and usually take up the most space in my pencil case. Okay, the next question I have is asking me about my art style, so how I developed it or discovered it. So for this question, I'm not really sure exactly how to answer it because I personally don't feel like I really have an art style. I try not to make art only one way. Like, I don't like to limit myself to one style or, one medium. I really like to try different things. So you could kind of see that a couple of videos ago when I talked about my concentrations. My digital portfolio that I did for 2D was so much different from the drawing portfolio that I did. I don't know, I really don't feel like there's a consistent style there, but I feel like where maybe a style does come out is just in like the techniques that I use. And I would say the way that I developed that was by trying a lot of different media. I was never somebody to just use watercolor and only use watercolor because that's what I was, used to. The way to learn the fastest is to learn a couple watercolor techniques, but then try acrylic and try oil and really get down some colored pencil techniques. And that's the fastest way to learn. And I think by learning a lot of different techniques is the way that you can kind of develop a style, because learning the way that you like to work will kind of give you a signature look to your pieces. Okay, so a lot of you are also asking me about music, kind of specifically the kind of music that I like to listen to when I'm making art. And I really thought this was a cool question because I usually ask this to a lot of other people too. So for me personally, my music taste is pretty wide. I like to listen to new music that comes out, but also a lot of old music. But basically, right now I'm listening to a lot of Frank Ocean, the Lumineers album that's slowly coming out. I've been listening to Chance the Rapper's new album I've been listening to, as well as just a couple random songs here and there. Like Surfaces has some good songs. I've been listening to that when I was at the beach a lot. Just music that's kind of chill, low-key, but also kind of has like a beat to it so I can have fun when I'm drawing, but nothing that's like in my face, because that just gets a little bit distracting. But yeah, hopefully that helps. That's what I've been listening to recently. And also Daniel Caesar is really good. I listen to him a lot, and hopefully I'm going to see him in concert soon. He's definitely one of my favorites. Somebody's asking me what I like to do when I want to take a break from art. So I am really involved in my high school, so I do a lot for student government. I'm the president of my school, so I do a lot with that, so that keeps me really busy. In terms of other activities, there are not a lot of other creative things that I usually do, but there are things that I would really like to do. So hopefully this year I'm going to put some time aside to maybe learn how to play the guitar or like the piano or some sort of instrument, because that's something I'm interested in. Okay, so at this point of the drawing, I've already finished the pencil stage of it, and now I'm whipping out some acrylic paints. So I've got like a ultramarine blue, a peachy color, I don't know what the other one is, like a cerulean maybe, I don't even freaking know. But I'm mixing that together and adding a lot of water to it and basically doing an acrylic wash over the sketch that I've created. So this is just a way for me to lay down a flat color that I can then build on top of later. And it also helps just soften out the pencil sketch. But it is really helpful for me to lay down a color because it just helps me to build on top of it. I don't really enjoy drawing or painting on top of white anymore. Whenever I start a painting or finished piece, usually I always do a wash. And here I'm also adding another darker layer on top of the face and the figure. That way they pop out a little bit more from the background. And also throwing in a little bit of texture here and there just to give it a little bit more interest in some of those blank areas. And then again, with an even darker layer, I'm going in and just developing some of the darkest areas of the face just to pump up some of those shadows. And again, this will make it easier for me to develop the piece later on when I move into colored pencils to finish it up. The next question I have is asking me if my school is primarily an art school. So it is not. I just go to a public high school. Luckily, it does have a strong art department though, so there are a lot of classes that are offered that I could take. It is kind of a bummer though, because I've kind of ran out the track. So this coming year, I'm just going to be taking an independent study because I've already done the AP courses that they offer. So there's not really a higher level course to go to. Okay, so back to the drawing really quick. So at this point, I've done everything I wanted to do with the acrylic, and just to get some sharper details in and to develop the forms that I've started to build with the shadows of the paint, I'm going in with the colored pencils just to add more depth and detail. So compared to using a brush, this really just helps me get really fine details and have a little bit more of a sharper image. So yeah, usually if I'm doing like a finished drawing, I will end it kind of with colored pencils just to get the details in there. Okay, so next question is, how do you keep your art spicy and different and interesting? So I found this to be a really important question. It's also a funny question, but basically, if you want to create art that like really stands out, one of the most important things that you can do is research. So what that means is finding something that you're interested in that's not art related, and then doing a ton of research on it, and then creating art about that research that you've done. So for example, this was something that we did a lot in my AP class, where we would be given a topic. So if you remember that the Bangladesh piece that I did, I think the topic was psychological impact. So that was just like a theme that we had to go off of. And for me, I took that as creating an art piece that would stick with somebody, that would really have an imprint on their mind because of the graphic image that it would be. So my mind immediately went to the building collapse that happened in Bangladesh because of the fast fashion industry. But I really didn't know a lot about it. I've obviously heard about it, but I wanted to do more research. And continuing my research in that area, I was able to create a piece that was really different and specific. So I think by doing research on something you're interested in, you can really create art that really stands out. So this could be, environmental conservation, but make it specific. You could talk about the coral reefs, and or you could just make art that's really weird and personal. So like if you have a really weird dream, like make an art piece based on that. But I think the more personal you can get with your pieces, and the more you can really think about them, and the more research that you can do to really develop them, I think the more distinguished your art will be, and the more interesting it will be. So hopefully this helps, because that was something that, after I learned it, really helped me create art that was a little bit more impactful. Okay, so next question is anybody else in my family artistic or artsy? So my parents are creative, but not really in visual arts. I think they would have been really good artists if they had like practiced a lot, but they really didn't. But my sister is really creative too, and we kind of grew up drawing together, but then she kind of grew out of it, and she's really into science now. But so yeah, I'm kind of the only one in my family that really has pursued it. And that kind of falls into the next question, which is how many years have I been drawing? So I've been drawing my entire life. I know, probably a lot of people say that, but there are pictures of me from when I was like 2 years old, lying on the floor with paper all around me and crayons everywhere. So it's really been something that I've always done. But when people ask me like, when did you really start to draw to improve? I would tell them about like 4th or 5th grade is when I started, going on YouTube and searching tutorials and things like that. So it's been a long time now that I've been really drawing for the purpose of improving and developing my skills. So yeah, it does take a while, but it's definitely worth it, because you will see improvement every time you pick up a pencil. Okay, so now at this point in the drawing, I like the way that the face and the figure were looking, but I did feel like there was a lot of empty space. So I took some tape and I just created like little lines that I could then paint on top of, and it would be really clean. So when I peeled them off, it would kind of lead the viewer's eye into the eye that's like being pulled open. And I just thought that was another element that kind of helped to bring the piece together. And the white kind of helps things pop a little bit more too. So I did 3 lines to start, and then I ended up repeating the process so that I could have a couple more, because I did still feel like there was a little bit of empty space that wasn't really being used. And even at the top there, the top right, I feel like I could have put something else, but I didn't end up doing that. Okay, so I think we have time for about one more question. So this one is asking, what is one thing you have to do before you die? So for me, I've kind of had this dream for a little while to do like a South American road trip. I've been trying to learn Spanish for a little while now. Obviously, I'm taking a language at school, but I have put some time in on my own time to learn a little bit more. So it is a dream of mine to kind of travel through South America in like a van or something like that, and just kind of see all of the cultures for myself, and I'll try all the different foods. And I just feel like that would be such a great experience if I could do that for like a couple months or even like a year. But yeah. This is me now just peeling off some of the tape. It is probably the most satisfying part of the video, so it's also probably the best part of drawing when you do this technique, because it's just so nice to see it so clean cut. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this part. But yeah, this is the finished product actually. So yeah, it was a fun little process. I enjoyed doing it, and I hope you guys also enjoyed it. If you like this video, you can like it, or you can even subscribe. But yeah, I think that's just about it. This video is over.